All right, so the first method for getting an accurate drawing for a portrait is using a grid. Now, I know this is probably the most popular and most people know about this one, but I'm going to give you a couple tips on how to make using a grid better and go over the pros and cons. And to be completely honest, even though I've used a grid a ton in the past, it's probably my least favorite way out of the three ways I'm going to talk about in this video. All right, welcome to Paint Coach. If you're new, my name is Chris Fornatero, and I'm here to help simplify oil painting so that you can get better faster. Now, the most important thing to know when using a grid is to make sure your canvas and your reference image are the same in dimensions. For example, like the 3x4 dimensions can be transferred to 9x12, 16x20. It couldn't be transferred to an 11x14. I've made that mistake before. So you just want to make sure that you crop your reference photo appropriately. And probably the easiest way to do that is just in your phone. If you go to edit photos, if you have an iPhone, and you can choose, they have different dimensions there, and 3x4 is one of them. But if you need more dimension options, if you have like a specific canvas or something, I'm sure there's a ton of apps out there that you could find that will crop it in dimensions that you want. So once you crop and grid your photo, you want to put the same exact grid on your canvas. And a lot of times I just do that using pencil. Now, a little tip with using a grid when it comes to portraits is sometimes you can put a more detailed grid just in the area of the features. Like here, I just split up the boxes that comprise the features into a little more boxes to have more grid lines, which will make the drawing of that part easier. Save you a little time, that way you don't have to put more grid on the entire thing, just the area where you need it the most. Another tip is don't draw out everything super detailed. Only draw out these shadow shapes. I talked about this in a previous video that kind of the best way to start a portrait is to just think of it in terms of light and shadow and just simplify it into those simple shapes. It's going to make organizing the values easier. It's also just going to make the drawing a lot easier. It's a lot easier to draw that in than a full-blown portrait. So the pros to using a grid are, one, you don't need much drawing experience or skill to get an accurate drawing. Also, you can place the head exactly where you want on the canvas. You don't have to worry about drawing it in too high or too low or too far to one side or the other. You can also adjust how much you want the grid to help you. You can add in more boxes if you want a lot of help, or you can take away boxes if you don't want a lot of help. Like I do that a lot with my landscape tutorials. I'll just do one line down the middle vertically, one horizontally, and just having that makes it a lot easier to get a drawing in, but you still have to call upon some drawing skills. Now, some of the cons with this are, one, you're really limited with your background options. You like pretty much have to put in a background because you got all these grid lines everywhere. And a lot of times I like to use an unfinished look with my portraits. So that one's kind of off the table. Another con is that, at least I've noticed with myself, is that when I use a grid and I'm just kind of like following box by box, I'm not really turning on my drawing brain. I'm not thinking so much about form. And I feel like that transfers into when I start painting, because even when you start painting, you should still be thinking about drawing. You should constantly be thinking about your drawing, because as you're laying in shapes and values and features and all that stuff, you need to be thinking about the placement of it. And it's strange because there was like a period of time when I stopped using a grid. I was just freehand drawing a lot more using measurements. And I went back to using a grid and I found like my portraits came out less accurate, because you can get stuck in coloring inside the lines mode and you're constantly trying to preserve your drawing, which causes you to paint more tight and more careful, which doesn't really lead to good, like loose, expressive portraits or portraits with confident brushwork. And last con is that it's pretty hard, if not impossible, to do a portrait from life if you're working from a live model using a grid, unless you like come up with some like little viewfinder that has a grid, which I think I've seen some people use that, but it seems like it'd be difficult if the person moved even just a little bit, kind of throw it all off. So it is limiting in that way. All right, the second way is getting measurements. You can do this by using a proportional divider, a ruler, or doing the thing where you hold up your brush and your thumb and you get measurements that way. I'll actually be teaching this way during Paint Week. And if you don't know what Paint Week is, it's a week where I give out a free mini course. I've done this on still life, landscapes in the past, and now I'm doing it on portraits for the first time. It starts May 6th and goes through the 11th. If you want more information on that and how to sign up, I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. I like this way a lot because I feel like it's more freeing than using a grid. Like there's no real prep. I don't have to worry about getting same dimension canvases, same dimension photo reference and grid and all that stuff. I can kind of just start painting. And I like the proportional divider because it gives me the option to enlarge or shrink the reference image on how I adjust that little middle piece. So even if I don't want it to be the same size, I'm still good. And when I start a painting, a lot of times the first measurements that I get are from the top of the head to the chin, and then from top of the head to the eyes or the eyebrows, and then a width measurement on each side of the face at that eye line. And then from there, I feel like I can start drawing, kind of start connecting dots. But as I go, like I'll get more measurements if I need to. If I draw something in and I'm not sure about it, I'll check it using my proportional divider. It's just a really quick, easy way, I feel like, to check yourself as you go and just make sure everything's getting drawn in right without fully relying on something like a grid for the drawing. Like I'm still having to like exercise my drawing and my observational skills. Now, a tip with this is same as the grid, is don't try and draw out everything super detailed. Just try and do the light and shadow. And if you struggle to see or identify the light and shadow shapes, there's an app you can use called Value Study. And you just put your reference photo in there and you can adjust like how many values you want it to be broken down into. And it's very helpful to just see the shadow shapes. And doing that's going to make getting measurements and getting the drawing a whole lot easier. And also just doing that, it's going to make the painting process more fun. This is going to allow you to be able to paint more like a sculptor instead of coloring inside the lines. You're gonna have enough space and room to carve the paint as you go. Another tip with this method is try the best you can to print out the reference. That way you can put it right next to your canvas and it's just a lot easier to get measurements and see the difference. And the cool thing is that you don't need a super high quality version of the photo for the drawing. You know, it can be on cheap paper, the image could be faded, you know, if you don't want to use a lot of ink, but just making sure it's big enough. If you're painting from a screen of some kind, like a TV or an iPad or a computer, make sure it's big enough. I really don't recommend painting from your phone. Like I always have students that like doing that because it's convenient. And once I actually get them to print it out bigger or get it on a bigger size screen, they're like, whoa, this made so much difference and made the drawing so much easier. All right, and the last method is the Lumis head method. Now I've first learned this like a couple years ago in Andrew Lumis's book, Drawing the Head and Hands. I feel like most people, when they get into painting and drawing, this is like one of the first books they pick up. I didn't. I was late to the game on this one. But once I did, I felt like it made portrait painting, the drawing process, a lot easier. And pretty much what the Lumis head method is, it's based off of this concept of thinking about the head like a ball. And then there's like the center line for wherever you want the middle of the face to be. And then you put a horizontal line where the eyebrows are. And then from that, you can kind of mark off basic measurements. Like the hairline is going to be halfway between the eyebrows and the center of the head, you know, at the top of the head. And then if you mirror that distance down from the eyebrows, you're going to get where the nose should be. And if you mirror it down again, you're going to get where the chin should be. And kind of from those, you can draw and tilt the head any which way from any perspective. Now, these measurements aren't going to be the same for everyone. They're just a good place to start from, because then you can look at your reference and be like, okay, this person has a bigger chin. I'm going to bring that chin line down a little bit, or maybe their forehead's a little smaller. I'm going to bring that hairline down a little bit. Now, a tip when doing this one is still use a proportional divider. I'll still use a proportional divider when I use the Lumis head method just to like check my reference. I'd be like, oh, okay, like are they like, is this reference, is this person the perfect even proportions? And so like I'll check like, okay, is the distance from their eyebrow to their hairline the same distance from their eyebrows to their nose? It just helps me make those adjustments. Another tip is if you're going to be painting a portrait, try to do the Lumis head, like do a small sketch. It can be like this big, just on a piece of paper, just to practice getting the placement of everything right and the angle and the tilt. You don't need detail. You don't need to be drawing like the actual individual eyes and drawing detail out the nose and the mouth, but just enough to kind of get a handle and get familiar with the angle of the head, the perspective, you know, if there's a tilt. Like I do this all the time now and it helps so much. It's just like a quick 10 or 15 minute warm up and just kind of practice to study a little bit of this particular reference or this head that I'm about to paint. Now the pros with this method is it's definitely the most freeing. Like you don't need any prep, you don't need any kind of measuring devices or anything. You can just start drawing and painting. It's by far the best for painting from life, because even if the model turns their head or moves, you have enough knowledge of the form of the head and the placement and all these measurements and everything that you don't even need the model so much, because you can lock in the placement how you want because you know this Lumis head method. And so even if they move their head, like you're fine, you got yours locked in. I know once I learned this method, it made painting from life a lot easier because I wasn't 100% reliant on the model. If I'm looking at the model, like, oh, they tilted their head, like, oh, mine's not tilted, and this gets confusing. The Lumis head method pretty much solves that problem. Another pro is that just understanding this is going to help you understand the form of the head a lot more, which is going to help you with so many things. It's going to help you with planes. It's going to help you with features. As you're painting, you should still be thinking about drawing and the placement of things. And this is going to help you with that. Now, there's really only one con with this, which is it does take some practice. It does take some time to learn. I think it's really worth the time to learn. When I was trying to learn this, I would just sit down 30 minutes a day and just practice as many of these as I could. All right, hope you found this video helpful. Again, if you want to sign up for Paint Week and learn to paint portraits with me, the link to that is in the description of this video. It is completely free. All right, I'm Chris Fornatero here telling you to go get painting.